I'm feeling a little hemmed in by the dark clouds here. Take a look at what the horizon looks like. The horizon's looking a little menacing. Take a look at this. This little breeze that we're having right now just came up 2 or 3 minutes ago, but look how dark it is just up ahead there. And that's the direction we want to go. Even astern of us, we have darkness. Well, we just came through a huge deluge. The rain really came down, and there was thunder and lightning at the beginning. And then after that finished, we just had heavy rain. So, of course, what do? You grab your soap, dash outside, you scrub down. That brings me to what I want to talk about, and I'm going to call this segment the Wave Rover Thought of the Week. So this week I want to talk about cleanliness and discipline and routine on a little boat. So earlier this morning, I was doing my routine. Every second day, I usually pick a compartment, I clean it, I scrub it down. I also take care of myself the same way. I usually have a shower every second day and I shave every second day. It just makes me feel better. It makes me feel energized when I do that. And I also get a great feeling of satisfaction when I clean and organize the boat at sea. Now, it doesn't all have to be done at once. In fact, having a routine so that you get to everything sooner or later is probably a much better way of dealing with it. But that takes discipline. It takes discipline to approach this in an orderly manner. Now, to illustrate this point, I'm thinking back to a fellow I met in the Azores. Now, he was about 20 years my junior, but he had just crossed the Atlantic, or rather, he had crossed the Atlantic a few years before on a boat just like Wave Rover. Well, approximately the same size as Wave Rover, let's put it that way. It wasn't a Contessa 26. He also was a solo sailor. So I invited him on board. We had tea. He said he liked the boat. He liked how I had it laid out. And then a few days later, he invited me on his boat. And the deck was, well, it was a bit messy. It was messy and it was untidy. It was dirty and untidy. But when I went below, it was really messy and dirty. And what's more, it really smelled. It had a terrible odor. So he offered to make me tea. I declined, but I did notice that his stove, just like mine, it was one of these Swedish alcohol stoves, but it was all black on the top from pots spilling over, and he just didn't seem to clean anything. So he told me, he said that he had been suffering from periods of depression. Now, that's all above my wheelhouse, or it's above my pay grade. It's outside my wheelhouse. It's a complex issue, and I don't want to go into it. But I will say this, that a clean ship is a happy ship, and that's the way we used to look at it in the Navy. A clean ship is a happy ship, but I'll go one step further, and I'll say a clean ship is a healthy ship. Now, if you have a thought about this, or you want to contribute to the conversation in a positive way, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say in this, what your thoughts are. Anyway, until next week's thought, fair winds. Well, that was quite the weather cell we just sailed through. At first, there was a bit of thunder and lightning, and you could see the lightning, and then about, I counted maybe 2 seconds, and then the thunder. That's really close. And then the second one, it was about 5 seconds. So it was moving in the right direction away from me. When I saw the first bit of lightning, I went below. Didn't want to get hit with lightning on deck. After the lightning finished, I got back up and it was raining really heavily. This was one of those tropical torrential rainstorms. So what do? You grab your bar of soap, you hop up on deck, and you just have a great shower. And I just feel like a new person after that shower. During that time, the wind actually veered from southeast to southwest, about 90 degrees, and we're still having a southwest component right now, which is odd, you know, for this area. We usually expect a southeast wind at this point. And now let me just show you what the horizon looks like. It's just about sunset. So that's looking south, and that's part of the cell that we just came through. And you can see it's still quite dark. And there's the sun setting. Looks rather beautiful. And then up ahead we have a bit of an opening, but not much. And then we have more darkness to the northeast, and it continues, and you can see there's actually rain in the southeast. Back to the south. Well, it's the beginning of our 8th day at sea. Last night we had quite a lot of thunderstorms and rain, of course. And leading up to that, the wind increases. We get a good run. We get a good run through the rain shower, the weather cell, and then after, the wind is all confused, and quite often it shifted 90 degrees. So there was a lot of tacking last night, downwind tacking. But this morning the sun is rising, and it's actually really pleasant right now, but the wind is very, very light. And I'll just give you a scan of the horizon. There's our drifter still doing its job, but you can see there are dark clouds up ahead. And then, of course, south of us, it's looking not bad. Well, it's a little after sunrise. It's the beginning of our 8th day at sea, and I just hung the laundry out. Last night we had quite a bit of rain and unsettled weather as we went through the night. But this morning, south of me, the weather's looking great, but north of me I have some dark clouds. Here, take a look. That's to our west. To the north. To the east with the sun. to the south. Yes, this is the Atlantic. It is the Atlantic, and by that I mean it's so flat. This is not like any condition we've really encountered on the Atlantic before. Even before, when we had light winds on our way to the Azores on the North Atlantic, we still had considerable swell and wave action. Now it's really flat. It's almost like being on a large lake. But we do get a lot of weather cells. Yesterday there were several. We were surrounded by them at one point, and we passed through them with very close thunder and lightning strikes. Anyway, so goes the battle to get Wave Rover back to Prince Edward Island. Join me again in the next episode as Wave Rover continues her trek north despite very, very light and unsettled conditions.